Good morning, everybody. I quickly want to introduce you to a little bit of my world, playing with pollen, taking over the job of the bees, and to generate some answers through that process. So the title of my talk this morning is Screening Mainstream Plum Cultivars for the Duration of the Effective Pollination Period and all the factors affecting this. The normal introduction, material, methods, results, and conclusions, just a little peep into a 3-year project. So this is mainly the first year's data. And I'll tell you why there's hamburger bags and washing pins in my orchards. The problem, as Vian indicated now, is poor fruit set. So one of the factors that can influence this is it seems like it's unique per cultivar, the period that pollen has from the moment it lands on the female parts of the flower to grow down the style and do effective fertilization of the ovary. The next spot there is, is factors influencing the effective pollination period of a cultivar. And if you quickly go through the list, it's actually the entire environment that the tree grows in, that the tree produces flowers in. So everything must be kind of perfect or as close to perfect as possible for this effective pollination to occur. And then for plum trees, apparently there's only 5 to 14% of the flowers that pollinate or that's bared that will develop into fruit. So we work in a scenario where we want everything perfect for a good fruit set. So the aim of this study was to determine the effective pollination period for the mainstream plum cultivars in the Western Cape. The material we selected was Ruby Sun, Ruby Star, African Delight, Angelino, Fortune, Sun Gold, Letitia, and then Sapphire and Ruby Crisp. You see, I selected Worcester, Robertson, and Bonnievale as sites. It's harsher environments, so we hope to get the effect of temperature and environment out clearly. And my very sophisticated equipment that I use is basically a tweezer, a glass rod, and pollen. So it's quite a process that you must organize, and the logistics in there can be quite daunting. You need to collect and prepare your pollen. So it's not just collecting a flower and pollinate. There's a process leading into it. And then since plums are mostly open pollinated, you want to seclude the flowers to prevent the bees from pollinating. And then for 10 consecutive days after we prepared the flowers, we go back and do pollination, hand pollinations. After that, we remove the bags and allow the natural fruiting process to develop. We take results after 12, 24, and 42 days, and then we also collect weather data. We just now heard the talk about the weather leading up to the flowering period and then also the weather after that. And the data is analyzed properly. Just to give you a view of my September and October, the yellow is where the pollinations are physically happening, but then there's a pre-preparation period and then the results afterwards. So some of the results, you can see the vertical columns indicating when the cultivars flower, and then we collected the data, and after 3 years we will see the effect if the weather data has any effect on the results of the pollination success. So we collect maximum, minimum temperatures, but then also humidity and wind data. And if you want, we can give it to you hourly, but this is daily averages. And then the results of the fruit that's set after we did the controlled pollinations. The top line, the blue line, is the results after 12 days, and the orange line after 24 days. So you'll see there's a reduction in what we anticipated fruit that will go all the way, or the developing ovaries going all the way to fruit. And then the bottom gray line is after 42 days. That we anticipate it's hard bit, so it will go all the way. You can see the bottom two. Unfortunately, when we went to collect data, that was also the day on which thinning happened. So for the data analysis this first season, we used the orange line to determine the effective pollination period. And you can see there's clear differences between these 4 cultivars in their pattern. And then conclusion, we want to see basically if a cultivar has a short effective pollination period, you are taking a big risk to plant that in a very harsh environment. Then you will rather go for something like Letitia, that the flowers stays open and available for pollination for a very, very long time. And thank you very much to Hortgrove for this opportunity to showcase this project to you, for Hortgrove for funding, for ARC for co-funding, and then also for ARC for technical assistance. There's a lot of hands needed to collect the pollen, to clean the pollen, and to do the pollinations, and then afterwards to do the statistical analysis and to retrieve the climatic data. Thank you very much.